or walking out of here unless we work together. I'm the one they should be scared of. Because I'm Harley freaking Quinn.
Harley Quinn in Birds of Prey. Rated R.
And we're back. All right. Welcome to the Mad Dad Movie Review, a podcast full of first-time movie reviews starring Mads and her dad.
I'm Mads.
And I'm the dad, and this is Mad Dad Movie Review. Yeah. So how you doing, kid?
Good.
How was your week?
Good.
Remember, when you're shaking your head, people listening, because it's a podcast, they can't hear that. So, shaking your head up and down, all around. Well, I just want to let the viewers know that they can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Anchor, Breaker, Overcast, and wherever else you enjoy your favorite podcasts. We're at facebook.com/MadDadMovieReview. We're on Instagram at Mad Dad Movie Review, and we are coming soon to Twitter. I can pretty much guarantee you our handle is going to be the same, Mad Dad Movie Review. But as of this recording, I have not set that up yet because I am personally not a Twitter guy. But for the podcast, for the podcast, leave us a message, or you can email us at maddadmoviereview@gmail.com. Also, if you can, please leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you're listening to this. We'd appreciate it a lot. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I know Mads would appreciate it. She's just glooming with appreciation right now. Words, use them. Say anything, please. Yeah, I went back and listened to the last podcast on The Shining, which, for the record, was great. And I really enjoyed it. I've actually listened to it twice since last week, I'm not going to lie. I think you were great. I've had a couple of people actually tell me, how insightful you looked and sounded, and not looked, but sounded, and, they were like me, kind of like taken back at the questions you were asking and things you were noticing watching The Shining, because it's The Shining, So, good on that. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty, shall we?
So, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
So, this is Birds of Prey, we watched. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Released February 7th, 2020 by Warner Brothers. It opened up at number one with $33 million. Number one against Bad Boys for Life, 1917, Doolittle, and Jumanji: The Next Level. Doolittle. Check that one out yet?
No.
You a big Doolittle fan? Alright. So this had a budget of between $82 to $100 million. It grossed a total of $201.9 million. That's broken out $84.2 million domestic, $117.7 million foreign. All in all, either this movie broke even or underperformed a little bit. Overall, it was an underwhelming performance, mainly because this movie, unfortunately, was one of many that got affected with the COVID-19. And, it had a few weeks. It had legs. I strongly think that it could have made much more money had it been released a little bit longer. I think it didn't even get released outright, and there were still some countries and territories that still had was waiting for the release. So it's unfortunate because I'm a big fan of this movie, to be honest. So, directed by Kathy Ann, produced by Margot Robbie, Brian Unkeles, and Sue Kroll. I hope I pronounced that name right. Written for the screen by Christina Hodson, music by Daniel Pemberton, cinematography by Matthew Libatique, and stars Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress, Journey Smollett Bell as Black Canary, Rosie Perez as Renee Montoya, Chris Messina as Victor Zaz, Ella J. Basco as Cassandra Cain, and Ewan McGregor as Roman Sionis Black Mask.
Wasn't he in Doctor Sleep?
Yeah, he was Danny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's been around. He's been around for a while. Actually, have just recently picked up on Criterion one of his first movies, Shallow Grave. And that came out in 94, I want to say. Yeah, 94. So he's been around for a while. First impressions, what'd you think? I mean, I know, again, first impressions, I mean, usually we watch movies for your first time, but this one you requested, and we actually did see it in the theaters. So it wasn't quite your first time, but it was... Well, go back to your first time. What'd you think? Walking out of the theater, what was in Madilyn's mind?
I liked it. I liked how it wasn't, because usually Harley Quinn movies are towards other people instead of just Harley Quinn. This one was towards Harley Quinn the most.
Which is funny saying that because it's marketed and titled Birds of Prey,
But at the end, you find out who the Birds of Prey are.
You don't exactly. There's no Birds of Prey. I mean, hell, the Huntress, like the second biggest character of the group, is barely even in the first half. She's in one scene. That's it. You know, and she pops up a lot more in the second half. But yeah, going into what you were saying, absolutely. This was definitely a Harley Quinn movie. And what else? Anything else? Thoughts, opinions?
I liked it. I liked the storyline. I liked how it was about Harley Quinn having to find a diamond and then saving a kid, and you wouldn't expect her to do that.
Yeah, a lot of things happen in this. So, why did I love this movie? Because like I mentioned before, this was my fourth time watching it. So, got to be a reason for that. It's only been out for, 6, 7 months? I mean, this movie's awesome. So why do I love it? All right, here's why. I love it because I always have a legit blast watching it. I love this movie because it's full of energy that makes it one of my favorite recent films to watch, thanks to its cranked visuals and excellent action sequences. I love it because it's legitimately funny, but the comedy itself doesn't overstay its welcome. I love it because drunk Harley Quinn is a mess and a blast to watch. I love it because the jailbreakout scene is my favorite sequence of the entire year so far. I don't think it's going to be beat. That's just an awesome sequence left and right. I love this film because the colors and visual effects and how they actually work for this movie. It just all goes together. It just ties in very well. Usually I'm not... Movies that are look like they're compromised on like a computer screen and whatnot for like the majority of it, like the look and sound, not sound, but the look and surrounding visuals and whatnot. Like 300 was like, I think that whole movie was filmed in like on a green screen. You could tell this movie had a lot of that going for it, especially a lot of the set pieces, but it still worked for me. It really did. The stuff looked great overall. It went together. All in all, the way this movie came out it exceeded my expectations. Not that I had very high ones, but we'll get more into that as we go on this episode. So, this is a big one here. I love this movie because it took serious risks getting released due to Hollywood's never-ending sexism and the backlash that the Suicide Squad received 4 years back. Not that Suicide Squad was a financial mess, but it was not well liked. I mean, say what you want about the movie. I'm not really a fan myself. I remember when you and I saw it, I walked out to say it was fine, but I don't even think I've actually watched it start to finish since. Have you?
I'm pretty sure I have, but it hasn't been recent.
Right. If you had to pick between Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey, what's your money on?
Birds of Prey.
all right.
People want to see Suicide Squad to see the Joker, and he was only in one scene, and then you just don't see him out of the rest.
Yeah, Joker. That's another thing that turned me off of that movie. I'm not a big Jared Leto Joker fan, but to each their own, right? That's movies are subjective, and I just don't personally find him very appealing. I love this movie because the soundtrack is dope as hell. I love this movie because it knows what it wants. It knows what it wants to be. I love it because the rhythm and flow of the film makes it highly rewatchable. And finally, I love this movie because of two words: Margot Robbie. So, that's what I thought and why I love it. Let's take a look at what the critics thought and go over to the critics' corner. So, this film, Birds of Prey, it's got a Rotten Tomatoes score of 78%, Metacritic score of 60 out of 59 reviews. It's got a Metascore of 60. It's got a Cinema score of a B+, and it's got a Letterboxd average score of 3.3 out of 5. So it's good. It's got some high praise so far based on these numbers. And again, like Rotten Tomatoes, I mean, the 78%. This was critic rating. This isn't the audience, the other audiences, and everyone else what they thought. The general consensus. This is not that. This is what critics. This is their corner, their say. Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times, he gave this 3.5 out of 4 stars. And he said, Robbie turns in a much richer and funnier and layered performance as Harley this time around, thanks in large part to the stiletto-sharp screenplay by Christina Hodson. Joe Morgenstern from Wall Street Journal stated, much of this R-rated movie is chaotic, yet it's a richly hued, madly inventive, gleefully violent, and happily slapdash contraption with a formidable female at its center. Matthew Monagle, sorry Matthew, if you're even listening, of the Austin Chronicle, gave this thing 4 out of 5 stars and said that Yan and Robbie lean into both sides of Quinn's personality throughout the film. This allows Birds of Prey to earn every bit of its R rating while still feeling like a Looney Tunes cartoon. But they all weren't so positive. So, in a scathing review, Mick LaSalle of the San Francisco Chronicle wrote, Birds of Prey is more than horrible. It should not exist. Money should never have been raised for it. The screenplay should have never been filmed. Margot Robbie shouldn't have ever produced it. She certainly shouldn't have starred in it. Okay. What are your thoughts on that?
That makes no sense because Margot has been playing Harley for a long time now. And all of a sudden he doesn't want her to be in it, and no, that wouldn't make sense. Because they made so many movies about the Joker and just it being about him. Why can't they make one about Harley? What's the difference?
I just think that makes a dick. Certainly doesn't know what he's talking about, but whatever. Madilyn, Ask me anything. What are your questions for me about this film?
I had one question because the movie really stands out, like it answers their questions.
Okay.
If you have time, but my only question is like, why is Dina working for Roman? Because I don't. Do they even tell you that in the movie, or did I not catch that?
Because what happens, it all goes and it ties into the when she leaves work and Harley is passed out, not passed out, but she's all messed up in the alleyway, and the guy is like hovering all over her and telling Dina that we're good here, and you know that scene when she rescues Harley Quinn. Basically, she like backs up, she sees in the rearview mirror the van backing up. And she's like, "Oh man!" She gets out. She basically rescues Harley Quinn, and Roman sees that from his window. So he cues Sas to pretty much bring her on board as the new driver, because Harley breaks his first driver's legs. Like the start of the nightclub scene, like the first thing she does basically is jumps up and breaks his leg after he tells her to sit down. All right, so let's go into our notes. Why don't you start it off? What do you have in your notes for this movie?
Oh, I
got a bunch of notes I wrote down.
Yeah, I had like scenes that should be brought up, but like the only thing that I just pointed out was Harley can do quick shoe changes.
And costume changes, apparently. And it's even brought up at the end. Someone mentions it. I forgot which one, but someone says, "Man, that was quick."
Yeah, because at the end of the movie, it's what came to me was because when they were at the end of the movie, it was nighttime when Rome died and all that, and then Harley goes want some tacos, and when they're at the place, all of a sudden it's daytime, and so. Yeah.
I mean that happens often in movies. Like the day and night transition, like awfully quick. It's like one thing. Remember a couple weeks back when we watched Halloween H2O. In the beginning, when the nurse sends her neighbor Jimmy into the house, and it's like dusk, but it's not fully dark, and he's only in there for like not even 5 minutes, and he comes out, and like the sun's completely gone. Like the sun like just beelined out of town within that 5 minute span. Remember that?
Yeah.
That happens often in movies. It's like it just I don't know. I can't stand it personally, but hey, I've accepted it. It happens.
Yeah, but at the end when they went to steal Dina's car. They both, Cassandra and Harley, both have a whole nother style. Their hair's different, their makeup's different, their clothes are different. And all of a sudden...
You're referring to the very end? When they all go for, don't they go eat?
Yeah, when they go out to eat, they're all in the same clothes. But when she steals the car, all of a sudden Bruce is her hyena. And
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. That my apologies to you and to people listening. That's rude, and people frown upon that. So, sorry, random thought of the moment. So go. All right. So that's any. I got my notes here. I mean, I just went down. I just wrote. It's pretty much thinking out loud here. Like my first note is this opening animation is great. Because the first 2.5 minutes, you get the introductory opening narration, and it's very colorful, it's good. It's just, I think it's a funny, unique, fitting way to start a Harley Quinn movie. Because I don't give a damn what anyone says. This is a Harley Quinn movie. Like that Birds of Prey stuff. Just, I mean, when I post this episode, I'm gonna put the new title, Harley Quinn: Birds of Prey.
That's what it is.
That's what it is, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. At the end, that's when they bring up the Birds of Prey, but Harley Quinn's not even in that group. So.
In fact, Birds of Prey. You always see them. I hit pause before the end scene started, the final act. Like I think it's 23 minutes of total screen time. I think that's what it was, or about that. That's it, and it's almost a 2-hour movie. I mean, it's like an hour and 48 minutes, I believe, was the time on the Blu-ray player. But
all met up at the end of the movie, so like that wouldn't
exactly. But whatever. Like I said, I mean that's why they went back, Warner Brothers, and it's never happened, but they changed the movie after it was already in theaters. Well, while it was in theaters, like they went back a week after it was already out, and was just like, yeah, we gotta call this something else. And then I have one here, Killer Soundtrack. Like I mentioned, I love the soundtrack to this. And I wish we got more roller derby. Yeah, I do. I really wish we got more of the roller derby stuff with Harley Quinn in the beginning. It was fun. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I want to know more about what was going on after she broke up with the Joker instead of just seeing some scenes of seeing what's going on.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And then I'm glad this film is Jokerless. Mm-hmm. There's like minus, you see like his backside in one part, but you know, after that, it's nothing else. Like there's no Joker, thank God. Not even like a little post, it's like a little stinger at the end of it. What? Nothing.
He's in one scene.
I just said his backside. Besides that, like there's no Joker in this. Thank God.
You hear him talking or doing any of that. You hear him laughing, but
yes, the scene where he's tattooing the guys because the guy spots Harley and he's got the messed up face, you know, and it shows how he got it, and it was her sitting next to him with Joker on top tattooing his face, and then you just see the Joker's backside, and then like it cuts like a bunch of ha-has on the screen before fading to black. That was the scene. So anyway, I really, 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 really dig the entire nightclub scene in the opening with the sped up various drunken Harley Quinn moments in the same shot. Like, it's just a fun, wild, like, it's not my most rewatchable scene, but it's up there. Like, that whole scene's just fun. I got a bunch of other stuff, like Rosie Perez, welcome back, we've missed you. Ewan McGregor is perfect in this. I think this is my favorite line in the whole movie when he goes, "Is that a snot bubble? Oh, I've changed my mind. Peel it off." Like, I love that scene. It's as funny as hell when he does that. Mm-hmm. Harley's voiceover narration actually works with this. That's something else I'm personally not a fan of, is films where like they have someone openly narrating for you to tell you what's going on in the movie. Like, you're like, the director expects the audience to be stupid, and they actually have to have someone like, this person is opening the door. You know, not like that literally, but like it's almost like that in some movies. Like this movie, actually, I didn't mind it. It worked for me. It was her story she was telling, and go for you. But I don't want to make this an entire love fest, because this film is by all means not perfect. My biggest gripe with this movie has to be, I don't like it's the use of time in this. It's all over the place. If it's done smart, it can be effective, like Pulp Fiction, something like that, where the narrative's all over the place. That movie works.
They should have stuck to like one topic. I mean, they did, but in the beginning they were all over the place, and then they made her restart this whole story. And
yeah, it's not till halfway through where the movie gets on track, and it's just a straightforward movie. But before that, the first half of the movie, oh my God, it's all over the place. You know, it starts with one of those like, you're probably wondering how I got here situations, and like, and it's everywhere. She goes into the police station, you know, and it's like, hold up, we got to figure out how we got here. It's like, no, we don't. You had your time to do that. Why did you do it when you had the shot? Now we got to go back and.
Because it's making the story longer, and it's making the whole movie longer, and.
You're cheating, Kathy. You're cheating. I just have like notes, like just notations, rather than, you know, like I have like Quinn breaking the fourth wall on the roof at the 16-minute mark. Joker back up. There it is. Joker backside spotting at the 17-minute mark, tattooing a guy's face. Code encrypted diamonds? that as a MacGuffin, new and clever. Like a lot of this film, just new and clever. Did you pick up on that while we were after the diamond? Like it was the diamond's encrypted with a code to that family, like their money and stuff. Yeah, I don't know if you picked up on that. And a little small detail within the narrative that I found. Just hey, it's the 21st century MacGuffin. I dig it. And then, this Harley Quinn jail rescue scene, one of my favorites. And Ewan McGregor also making the big deal about the crossbow killer is great. He's like, why don't I own a crossbow guy? I mean, I like crossbows. It's just so over the top, man. I love Ewan McGregor in this. Misleading title. And the "Do you know who I am" part with oh my god, what's her face? Huntress. Sorry, that had a brain fart. Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? That scene's just funny. Was there anything that didn't work for you?
No, not really.
I mean, like I said, this is not a perfect movie. I'm not trying to turn this into like a birds and bashing part, but
I wish we saw more of Bruce, to be honest. Her hyena.
Yeah.
He was in it. It's like, what was the point of getting a hyena if he's not going to be in the movie? So.
Do you know who Bruce is named after? Do you know who Bruce is named after?
Yeah, Batman.
Okay. I mean, obviously, but you know. And then to wrap up my notes here, I got the bit with the tranquilized Quinn stabbing dead Zaz is killing me every time. It's hilarious.
Harley stabbing Victor, I wrote that down.
Exactly. She's just sitting there, like, all, like, fighting off, like, just being tranquilized, and she's just, like, the jabs at him. It's great. I crack up every time. And then, let me see here. This is it. I'm almost finished, and the Harley Quinn character hasn't annoyed me once, like she did in Suicide Squad. So bravo to her. I mean, it's a different Harley Quinn character in this movie. It really is.
I like how they changed her personality up a little bit. Cause they're really showing how she went through this breakup, and she's all alone. And then she tells you in the beginning that all of Joker's master plans were mainly her idea, and he took the spotlight.
They tell people of the breakup because she's a sitting duck without him.
Yeah, and that confused me. It's like, I'm over here, like, you're not scared of Harley when Harley's doing everything and she's going through Gotham and he's just sitting there and he's not doing anything in the movie. Like, you don't hear him get brought up like he's doing anything bad. It's like he's just chilling at home and stuff.
Hey, maybe he was busy. Maybe he was fighting the Batman. Speaking of Gotham, I like how Gotham City in this movie is just a backdrop and not made into a big deal like in most DC movies, like Batman related. It's just an average city in this. Like, you know, the Gotham City in like Batman movies and stuff, it's like the city itself is a character. It's like its own character. In this, it's just your average city. It could pass for like the same Gotham that was in Joker from last year. Which, by the way, I'm kind of having a tough time tossing up which one I like. Which one is my favorite DC movie? Is it Joker or is it this? Because they're both. I gotta say, they're just excellent films. They really are. I have nothing but great things to say about Joker and Birds of Prey. Other DC films, not so much. Although I do love me some Batman vs Superman. Although I do owe myself a rewatch of that movie. It has been quite some time. But just overall, DC is kind of on a roll right now with their last two movies. And did you see that trailer for Justice League yesterday? The new one with Harley Quinn? The look in your face right now is what there's a Harley Quinn trailer? There's a Suicide Squad? Well, yeah, yesterday was
I know there was a second.
DC had an event and they debuted trailers for like all their upcoming movies and stuff. Like they have the new Justice League Snyder Cut. They had the trailer for that. They had the new Wonder Woman 84 trailer. They had the new Batman trailer last night. That was the big one. That even surprised me because I wasn't expecting to even see that. That's why I was surprised. And then they had The Suicide Squad, which is coming out next August, and Harley Quinn's in that movie too.
Yeah,
so, there was a teaser. There was a teaser for that they showed last night. So if you haven't seen it yet, when we wrap this up, check that out because it's looks. Hey, John Cena's in it.
Yes. Oh wait.
Yeah, Cena's in the Suicide Squad. Yes.
Isn't he like a brother of somebody or something like that? Or is that
he's kind of like the Captain America-esque member of the group. I forgot. I don't really know his name because this movie I will give James because the director of the Suicide Squad is James Gunn, who did the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So it's going to be kind of like those movies in tone and whatnot. I know he's going for like an older, grittier 70s, 80s action flick, like your A-Team kind of feel for this movie. And a couple of characters from the Suicide Squad are coming back, but it's primarily a whole new group. And Cena's in it, and I'm not going to lie, most of them are obscure characters that like the hardcore people really know. And I'm just a casual guy when it comes to DC. And just comic books in general. I don't want to make it sound like I'm this or that, because I'm really not. I just have a better time with Marvel. I think Marvel's the much better company of the two when it comes to the movies. So yeah, Madilyn, Ryan, who would you recommend this to?
Any DC Harley Quinn fan.
I would recommend this to people who don't give DC films a chance, aka the Marvel fanboys. I really think if there's any movie that you would like, if you're to pick a DC film to show someone to say that best represents like what DC films are, especially this date, especially if this is the route that the films are going, then definitely Birds of Prey.
Harley Quinn calling Birds of Prey, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Who's your MVP?
MVP? Wait, what?
Who's your MVP of the movie? Who do you think stands out as like the best person of the movie character? Besides Harley Quinn, because that's a duh.
Ooh, because I was going to say Harley Quinn.
Well, yeah, I had that on there. I put on my notes Harley Quinn, and then I put duh.
I couldn't choose Harley Quinn. Probably Roman.
Roman? Ewan McGregor?
Roman, yeah, Roman.
I'm gonna go with. God, it's tough because I actually wrote in here as my runner-up. I'm Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Huntress, but Ewan McGregor, he's got a case. He really does. He's got a case. Ewan McGregor, let's do it. Yeah, MVP, absolutely. Roman Sionis? Yes, I know. I knew that. Black Mask. Anywho, what is your most rewatchable moment of the film?
Harley Quinn driving into the gas tank and it exploding.
Nice, nice. I remember when I reviewed this movie back in February, I actually took time to focus on that scene because it's just the colors and the setup and everything. It's a good scene, really good scene. For me, it's the sequence when Harley breaks Cassandra out of prison. Everything from the opening when she comes in with the color bombs to the jail cell where she's fighting the prisoners in the rain, to that Halsey track, to her versus the bikers with the help of some powder. I'm not gonna get into that, but it's that whole sequence is
Yeah, the movie's definitely colorful, and other DC films, it's used to being dark, and this one has like a lot of style and color and not that dark.
oh yeah, it's so colorful. I love the colors in this movie. It's very, very colorful.
It's Harley Quinn. It's Harley Quinn's movie. She's
I was gonna say, especially if you're a fan of neon, bright pink, and blue, this is your movie. If you're a fan of those two colors, then boy, do we have a movie for you. Let's give this film some star power. So, based on my 5-star rating, what do you give this film's final score?
4.5 or a 5.
You gotta pick one.
Okay, then 4.5.
4.5, right. Because no film is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I have, personally, 5 or... there's probably no more than 10 movies I would consider perfect 5s.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm saying this right now, but if you go to my Letterboxd account, I probably have, 20 that are 5 stars. But in reality, if I had to rate them, seriously, they wouldn't be that high, but yeah. So if anyone watches or pays attention to my Letterboxd, because I definitely have one, then yeah, 5s go across sometimes. It's just I'm a fan. I'm a fan of movies. But no, seriously, my final star rating for this, I give it 4. If you look at my Letterboxd, that's what I gave it there. So I'm carrying on with that tradition. It stays at a 4 for me. And that is that. Next week, the next film, we're going to be taking a look at 1992's Reservoir Dogs from Quentin Tarantino. I thought about this one long and hard, and I really wanted to get you into some more heavy directors, some more of the heavy hitters that I mentioned last week. And Tarantino's definitely one, although I would argue you're not ready for some of them quite yet. Yeah, Reservoir Dogs is a good starting point. It's a good jump off point for him, and it's his first film too. So next week, we're gonna sit down and watch Reservoir Dogs and record a little podcast on it. So that'll be that. Yeah. See everything cool coming up this week?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nope. Me neither. So, rather than boring everyone to death, crap, before I forget, double feature pairing. What do you got?
I'd say the Joker, the new one that just came out.
Joker? Why?
Because it's just about the Joker, and it's about him, how he started and how he became the Joker. And Birds of Prey is like that in the beginning, but at the same time, it's just about Harley Quinn. Maybe a group, but that's because Harley Quinn's always with the group.
I don't think it's the same. It's not supposed to be the same Joker either.
Yeah, it's definitely a different Joker, but still.
Yeah, I know. My double feature pairing is a little film called Kick-Ass. I figured going with the wild, zany hardcore, violent, heavy-hitting, like action, stylistic DC comic, not DC, but comic book movie in general. Yeah, Kick-Ass. It's a no-brainer. The movie came out 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years now. Have you seen Kick-Ass yet?
No.
No. It's good. I wanted to do You and Me for Halloween for years as a Hit Girl and Big Daddy, but just never came to fruition after all these years. Kind of missed that mark now. You're going on 13, so. Wah, wah, wah. All right. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything you want to bring to the table? No? Shrugging your shoulders? You're not as talkative as you were last week. No? Nothing?
That's because last week it was my first time watching the movie, and then we went straight to doing it.
We need to do that. We're doing that. No more of these movies that, the concept of the show, the format is first time. First time. So we're going to get back with that. Last week was effective, obviously, because we did The Shining, and right away we recorded the podcast. Next week, tune in for those who were underwhelmed by Madilyn and her lack of conversation, and her lack of words. Tune in next week. It'll be a complete 180. I can only promise you that. So, that being said, next week, you, me, Reservoir Dogs, Quentin Tarantino, 1992. This has been the Mad Dad Movie Review. We'll try that again.
What?
Alright.
Oh.
Go. You gonna say it?
I'm mad.
And I'm Dad. This has been Mad Dad Movie Review. Alright, guys. Take care.